Hey there, dear traveler. Tonight, we're setting off on a journey to a place so cold, so vast. It will make the coldest winters, seem like a mild breeze. Let the hum of the wind be your guide as we venture into the heart of one of the harshest winters on Earth, the winter of Kazakhstan. Imagine stepping into a world where the air bites like a sharp knife, the ground crunches beneath your feet, and the skies seem to stretch endlessly above you, painted in hues of pale white and muted blue. This is not just any winter. This is the land of the nomads, where survival means more than just enduring the cold. It's about mastering it, respecting it, and working with it. So, take a deep breath and let your imagination fill with the biting cold, the vast emptiness, and the resilience of those who have called this place home for centuries. For tonight, we are stepping into the shoes of the Kazakh nomads, those who have not only survived, but thrived in one of the most extreme environments on the planet. As you stand in the middle of the vast steppes, you feel a crisp, biting wind cut through you. The landscape stretches for miles, snow blanketing everything in sight. The vastness is overwhelming. Here in Kazakhstan, winter is more than a season. It's an unrelenting force of nature, shaping life for those who call these steppes home. From November to March, this land becomes a cold, silent wilderness. Snow piles up thick on the ground, turning the world into a sea of white. The wind howls, moving across the plains with such intensity that it almost feels as though the land itself is breathing. The winter here is not like any other. It's an all-encompassing, ever-present force that dictates every aspect of daily life. Temperatures in Kazakhstan during the winter can plummet as low as -40 degrees Celsius. Imagine stepping outside. The air so frigid it almost stings your skin. Each breath you take sharp, like ice forming inside your lung. The land is unforgiving. And for those who have lived here for generations, the Kazakh nomads enduring this bitter cold is part of their identity. It's something they've learned to respect, even cherish, over the centuries. But the cold isn't the only challenge. The wind here is fierce, often sweeping across the land with such force that it creates swirling snowstorms, blinding the eyes and making it almost impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. The dry air doesn't help either, sucking the moisture from your skin and lips, leaving you feeling parched no matter how much you drink. The intense cold, the dry wind, and the perpetual snowstorms combine to create an environment so harsh it feels as if the earth itself is frozen in time. Picture this. You are standing in the middle of one of the most desolate, awe-inspiring places on earth. All around you, endless plains of snow stretch out to the horizon, interrupted only by the jagged edges of distant mountains. There are no trees to offer shelter from the wind, no shelter from the sun's weak winter rays. The ground beneath your boots is solid ice, frozen so deeply that even the hardiest plants have given up trying to grow. The landscape is quiet, eerily so, as if the entire world is holding its breath, waiting for the next storm to arrive. This is the home of the Kazakh nomads, a place where survival is a way of life. These people, who have roamed the steppes for centuries, know how to live with the land, not against it. They've learned the rhythms of the land, understanding that in winter, every step must be calculated, every action deliberate. They've adapted their lives to this landscape, creating systems that allow them to endure even the harshest winters. In the winter, the land is unforgiving. Yet, within this harsh environment, life goes on. The Kazakh nomads live in yurts, portable, insulated tents that have been a part of their heritage for centuries. These yurts are more than just shelters. They are the heart of nomadic life, designed to provide warmth and protection against the biting cold. Inside, the air is warmer, the flickering flame of a small stove offering comfort against the cold. The walls are made of felt and wool, carefully layered to trap warmth inside and protect against the bitter wind outside. As you step inside one of these yurts, you're met with a sense of comfort that seems at odds with the frozen world outside. The heat from the stove feels like an embrace, the warmth from the fire making the space feel like a safe haven amidst the cold. The nomads, their families huddled together, gather here to eat, sleep, and share stories. Inside these yurts, the cold of the outside world seems to fade away, if only for a moment. But the contrast between the warmth of the yurt and the freezing world outside is striking. You understand that every moment of warmth, every ounce of comfort, is hard-won. Every piece of clothing, every animal, every firewood is a result of careful planning, hard work, and an understanding of the land. There is no room for complacency in the winter months. The nomads know that to survive, they must respect the land, understand its rhythms, and be ready to face whatever challenges it throws their way. Now, let's step into the life of a Kazakh nomad, a life built around survival in the harshest of conditions. Life here, as a nomad, revolves around a deep respect for the land, for nature, and for the animals that make this difficult life possible. The Kazakh people are not just survivors. They are masters of the land, adapting their ancient traditions to the demands of the modern world. During the winter months, the nomads focus on two things: keeping their livestock safe and ensuring that they themselves have enough food, warmth, and resources to make it through the cold. This means keeping a close eye on their herds of horses, cattle, and sheep, all of which provide the meat, milk, wool, and leather that the nomads rely on. These animals are their lifeblood. Their survival depends on them. In the winter, the nomads must also rely on hunting to supplement their diet. It's a difficult time for hunting, as many animals hibernate or move to more sheltered areas, but for the Kazakh people, it's a matter of ingenuity. They track the footprints of wild animals, learning to read the signs left in the snow, and they are skilled with bows and arrows, which they use to hunt game such as foxes, rabbits, and even larger prey like deer. Every successful hunt is a gift from the land, and every piece of meat and fur is carefully preserved to last through the long winter months. There is also the challenge of staying warm. The nomads use their skill in animal husbandry to provide them with the warmest clothing possible. Wool from sheep, hides from cattle, and furs from wild animals all come together to create layered clothing that traps body heat. The Kazakh people are experts in this, making clothes that are not only practical but also beautiful, often adorned with intricate patterns and designs passed down through generations. But perhaps the greatest survival skill of the Kazakh nomads is their ability to keep going. They have learned that survival is not just about staying warm or finding food. It's about perseverance, about facing the elements day after day, and never giving up. The winter may be long, but the nomads know that with each passing day, they are one step closer to the end of the cold season. They work together, share their resources, and rely on the strength of their community to get through the toughest months of the year. As you stand on the snow-covered steppes of Kazakhstan, surrounded by the bitter cold and the vastness of the land, you begin to understand what it takes to survive in such an unforgiving place. The Kazakh nomads live a life of resilience, of respect for the land, and of strength in the face of extreme adversity. The cold may be harsh, but it is not unconquerable. With knowledge, tradition, and unity, the nomads continue to thrive, living alongside the winter rather than being defeated by it. So, next time you feel the winter wind, remember the nomads of Kazakhstan and their strength, for in the face of such overwhelming cold, it's their resilience that shines the brightest. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast snow-covered plain. As far as the eye can see, there is nothing but the white, silent expanse of snow stretching across the steppes, interrupted only by the occasional dark silhouette of a distant mountain or the outline of a small herd of livestock. The land here feels endless, a frozen sea of white that rolls on and on, seemingly without end. This is where the Kazakh nomads live, and where they move through the harshest winter conditions. Their journey is not an easy one, and it's not confined to a single place. They travel across these vast steppes, constantly on the move in search of resources for their herds, food, water, and shelter. The snow can make every step feel like a battle, as thick drifts cover the land, making it difficult to know where the path leads. The land is open, but it is treacherous, with no visible landmarks to guide you through the cold. The nomads have mastered traveling through this harsh terrain using traditional methods, horse-drawn carts or sleds. These are their primary modes of transport, designed to glide over the snow and carry everything they need. The carts are sturdy, crafted from wood and iron, able to withstand the rough, frozen ground. The sleds, on the other hand, are perfect for cutting through the snow, their runners sliding effortlessly beneath the weight of the goods they carry. But as you travel along these icy roads, you quickly realize that the vastness of the steppes isn't the only challenge. The strong, biting winds blow across the land, pushing the snow into swirling gusts that can easily turn into a blinding storm. You can barely see more than a few feet in front of you. The wind howls, biting at your face, making your eyes water and your nose freeze. The storm is relentless, the kind that disorients you and makes it hard to tell which direction you're heading. But still, the journey continues, for there is no choice. The nomads must move to survive. As you press forward, each step becomes more taxing than the last. The cold seeps into your bones, the biting wind stripping away what little warmth your body has left. The snow, now a relentless wall of whiteness, seems to pull you in every direction, threatening to swallow you whole. The familiar landmarks you once trusted vanish beneath the heavy snowfall, leaving you disoriented in the vastness. But you must keep moving. The nomads are used to this. They know that stopping, even for a moment, can mean the difference between life and death. The sleds and carts, though sturdy and well-designed for these harsh conditions, are not immune to the brutality of the environment. The horses, too, are weary. Their breath forms visible clouds in the icy air as they pull the carts through deep snowdrifts. Every now and then, the sleds get stuck, the runners catching on hidden mounds of snow. The nomads work together swiftly, lifting, shifting, and digging out the sleds, their movements practiced and efficient. There is no time to waste, no room for hesitation. Each moment lost to the storm is another step further into danger. Sudden blizzards appear without warning, fierce and all-consuming. The wind picks up, howling across the plain, reducing visibility to almost nothing. You struggle to keep your bearings, your eyes stinging from the sharp winds and the blinding snow. The world around you becomes a blur of white and gray, and the cold is so intense it feels as though it could freeze time itself. The horses strain against the biting winds, their legs sinking deeper into the snow, making each step a challenge. But even in these moments of chaos, there is a rhythm to the journey. The nomads have learned to move in silence, communicating with simple gestures and the occasional word, the sound of which is often swallowed by the wind. They know how to work together to keep the journey moving forward, how to guide their horses through the storm, and how to shelter themselves during the worst of the weather. In times of danger, their calm is unshakable, a necessary trait when survival is at stake. There are moments when it feels as though the storm might never end. The cold presses in from all sides, the wind rattles against your clothing, and your fingers and toes grow numb despite your best efforts to keep warm. But just as you begin to doubt, you spot a familiar shape in the distance, the faint outline of a yurt, the traditional tent that will offer refuge from the storm. It is a welcome sight, the promise of warmth and shelter, where a fire burns in the hearth and the safety of the community awaits. The nomads know that they must keep moving until they reach their destination, a place of shelter, safety, and food for their livestock. The journey is hard, but it is not without reward. Each step, though difficult, brings them closer to survival. They endure not just for themselves, but for the generations that have followed before them and those that will come after. It is a life of constant motion, one that demands strength, perseverance, and a deep connection to the land that sustains them. Through the snow and the storms, through the harsh winds and biting cold, the nomads continue their journey. They are more than just survivors. They are masters of this land, this frozen wilderness, where life and death exist in a delicate balance, and where survival depends on knowing when to fight the storm and when to embrace it. In the vast emptiness of the steppes, where the only sound is the wind howling across the snow, the nomads are a living testament to resilience, to the unyielding will to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. As the storm rages around you, you push forward, your sled creaking and groaning beneath the weight of its cargo. But with each step, you are reminded of the strength that lies within the strength of the nomads, the strength of the land, and the strength of those who call this frozen wilderness home. It is not an easy journey, but it is their journey, one that has been passed down through generations, and one that will continue, no matter how fierce the storm may grow. With each passing day, you realize just how difficult life on the steppes truly is. Moving across thick snow is not just tiring, it's a constant struggle. Every step you take sinks deep into the cold, powdery snow, making your journey slower and more exhausting. The snow is everywhere, covering the earth, and it doesn't let up. The cold is so intense that it doesn't just chill the skin, it numbs your thoughts. Your horses struggle to pull the sleds through the heavy drifts, their hooves sinking deep into the snow, their breath misting in the air like smoke. The constant effort to keep moving, to make progress, drains both the animals and the nomads, and finding food or water along the way is almost impossible. Streams and rivers freeze over, and what little vegetation might be available for the livestock is buried under thick snow. Without fresh water or pasture, the animals grow weaker, and the journey grows even more perilous. But perhaps the most dangerous aspect of traveling on the steppes in winter are the blizzards. These sudden storms can appear without warning, fierce and unforgiving. They whip the snow into a blinding frenzy, so thick and fast that it's impossible to see more than a few inches ahead. The wind screams across the plain, driving the snow into your face, making it difficult to breathe, let alone navigate. In a blizzard, the world becomes a blur. The snow, wind, and cold combine into a wall of white that envelops everything. It's easy to lose your bearings, to become disoriented, and in this frozen wasteland, that can mean disaster. The storm may last hours or days, and without the ability to see or hear, you and your herd could wander off course, lost to the cold, unforgiving wilderness. These storms aren't just a threat to people, they're deadly to livestock as well. If the animals get separated from the sleds or carts, they could wander off into the storm, never to be seen again. And without the strength of your animals, survival becomes all the more uncertain. The storm rages on, relentless and unforgiving. As the wind howls and the snow swirls in every direction, you instinctively pull your scarf tighter around your face, trying to shield yourself from the biting cold. Your breath comes in ragged gasps, each exhale clouding the frozen air before it vanishes into the storm. The snowflakes sting your eyes, and the sound of the wind drowns out everything else. The soft creaking of the sleds, the panting of the horses, the very rhythm of life itself is lost in this furious white chaos. Your heart races as you call out to the other nomads in your group, but your voice is swallowed by the howling wind. You can barely hear your own thoughts, let alone distinguish the direction of the calls of your companions. The world around you is disorienting, as if it's become a surreal blur of white and gray. The horizon has disappeared, and for all you know, you could be traveling in circles, your bearings lost to the storm. Every moment feels like a struggle against the storm. The sleds groan under their loads, and the horses' hooves, once sure on the solid ground, now struggle to make any progress through the snow that builds up with every gust of wind. The animal's strength is slowly wearing thin, and you know you must keep moving, must push forward if you are to reach safety before the storm steals any more precious hours from you. You can only pray that the storm will pass soon, or at least that you'll be able to find shelter before the blizzard's wrath becomes too much to bear. But the storm shows no sign of letting up. It has become part of the land now, as if the steppes themselves are alive, fighting against you, testing your resolve. It's moments like these when you begin to doubt not just the storm, but your own ability to keep going. In a place like this, where the earth seems as cold and unyielding as the sky above, it feels like the wilderness itself is conspiring to crush you. You wonder if, for all your efforts, survival is truly within reach. Then, just as the weight of uncertainty presses down on you, a familiar sight emerges through the snow, the silhouette of a yurt in the distance. It's barely visible, only a shadow against the white fury of the storm, but it's enough to give you hope. You urge the horses onward, the reins pulled tight, your voice hoarse as you call out to your companions. They must have seen it too, because they, too, push forward with renewed vigor, guiding their animals toward the shelter ahead. The journey through the storm feels endless, and yet the yurt grows closer. It's as if the storm is parting just enough to allow you to reach the warmth, the safety, the reprieve you so desperately need. The moment you step inside, you are met with the comforting warmth of the fire, the soft glow of light, and the quiet hum of life inside the shelter. The yurt is a sanctuary in this storm, and as you settle in, shaking off the cold and exhaustion, you realize just how much you've relied on your knowledge, your tools, and your unyielding will to survive. Inside, the warmth spreads through your limbs, slowly thawing you out from the freeze that has gripped your body. The horses are brought in, their coats brushed and checked for any signs of frostbite, and the sleds are unloaded. The fire crackles in the hearth, and the aroma of cooking fills the air. It's a strange, almost surreal feeling to go from the unrelenting white fury of the storm to the calm, secure warmth of the yurt. In this space, you are safe. But even as you rest, you know that tomorrow, the journey continues. The storm may have passed, but the steps, with their unpredictable weather and endless challenges, will always be there. The nomads who roam this land are survivors, but survival is not a guarantee it's earned. Each and every day, through resilience, strength, and unity. And in this cold, vast wilderness, that is all you have to rely on. For now, you rest. But you also know that the nomadic life, with its risks and rewards, will never allow you to forget the land you walk on. The steps will always test you, always challenge you. But if you are strong enough, if you can endure the cold and the storms, it will reward you with the greatest gift of all, the ability to keep moving forward, to survive, to thrive, in the face of nature's most brutal tests. As you lie back, the soft sound of the wind outside, a distant reminder of the storm that raged only moments ago. You close your eyes. You are warm, you are safe, and you are alive. Tomorrow, the journey continues. But for now, you have earned a moment of rest. The storm rages on, relentless and unforgiving. As the wind howls and the snow swirls in every direction, you instinctively pull your scarf tighter around your face, trying to shield yourself from the biting cold. Your breath comes in ragged gasps, each exhale clouding the frozen air before it vanishes into the storm. The snowflakes sting your eyes, and the sound of the wind drowns out everything else. The soft creaking of the sleds, the panting of the horses, the very rhythm of life itself is lost in this furious white chaos. Your heart races as you call out to the other nomads in your group, but your voice is swallowed by the howling wind. You can barely hear your own thoughts, let alone distinguish the direction of the calls of your companions. The world around you is disorienting, as if it's become a surreal blur of white and gray. The horizon has disappeared, and for all you know, you could be traveling in circles, your bearings lost to the storm. Every moment feels like a struggle against the storm. The sleds groan under their loads, and the horses' hooves, once sure on the solid ground, now struggle to make any progress through the snow that builds up with every gust of wind. The animal's strength is slowly wearing thin, and you know you must keep moving, must push forward if you are to reach safety before the storm steals any more precious hours from you. You can only pray that the storm will pass soon, or at least that you'll be able to find shelter before the blizzard's wrath becomes too much to bear. But the storm shows no sign of letting up. It has become part of the land now, as if the steppes themselves are alive, fighting against you, testing your resolve. It's moments like these when you begin to doubt not just the storm, but your own ability to keep going. In a place like this, where the earth seems as cold and unyielding as the sky above, it feels like the wilderness itself is conspiring to crush you. You wonder if, for all your efforts, survival is truly within reach. Then, just as the weight of uncertainty presses down on you, a familiar sight emerges through the snow, the silhouette of a yurt in the distance. It's barely visible, only a shadow against the white fury of the storm, but it's enough to give you hope. You urge the horses onward, the reins pulled tight, your voice hoarse as you call out to your companions. They must have seen it too, because they too push forward with renewed vigor, guiding their animals toward the shelter ahead. The journey through the storm feels endless, and yet the yurt grows closer. It's as if the storm is parting just enough to allow you to reach the warmth, the safety, the reprieve you so desperately need. The moment you step inside, you are met with the comforting warmth of the fire, the soft glow of light, and the quiet hum of life inside the shelter. The yurt is a sanctuary in this storm, and as you settle in, shaking off the cold and exhaustion, you realize just how much you've relied on your knowledge, your tools, and your unyielding will to survive. Inside, the warmth spreads through your limbs, slowly thawing you out from the freeze that has gripped your body. The horses are brought in, their coats brushed and checked for any signs of frostbite, and the sleds are unloaded. The fire crackles in the hearth, and the aroma of cooking fills the air. It's a strange, almost surreal feeling to go from the unrelenting white fury of the storm to the calm, secure warmth of the yurt. In this space, you are safe. But even as you rest, you know that tomorrow the journey continues. The storm may have passed, but the steps, with their unpredictable weather and endless challenges, will always be there. The nomads who roam this land are survivors, but survival is not a guarantee it's earned. Each and every day, through resilience, strength, and unity. And in this cold, vast wilderness, that is all you have to rely on. For now, you rest. But you also know that the nomadic life, with its risks and rewards, will never allow you to forget the land you walk on. The steps will always test you, always challenge you. But if you are strong enough, if you can endure the cold and the storms, it will reward you with the greatest gift of all, the ability to keep moving forward, to survive, to thrive, in the face of nature's most brutal tests. As you lie back, the soft sound of the wind outside a distant reminder of the storm that raged only moments ago. You close your eyes. You are warm, you are safe, and you are alive. Tomorrow, the journey continues. But for now, you have earned a moment of rest. The warmth from the fire seeps into your bones, and for the first time in what feels like hours, you let yourself relax. Your muscles unwinding from the tension that has held them rigid against the storm's ferocity. The scent of simmering food fills the air, grounding you in the present, reminding you of the comforts that you fought so hard to reach. In the flickering firelight, you see your companions begin to settle too, their faces drawn with exhaustion but softened with relief. Outside, the storm continues to howl, but inside the yurt, there is a sense of peace, a rare and precious calm. You sit beside the fire, the rhythmic crackling of the flames adding a gentle contrast to the howling wind outside. The yurt is small, but it's a sanctuary. There is laughter here, muted and faint but unmistakable, as the other nomads share stories of past journeys, of storms survived and paths conquered. In this shared warmth, in this small protected space, the weight of the harsh world outside feels just a little lighter. You take a moment to look around the yurt, the familiar faces of your fellow nomads, the carefully arranged blankets and animal furs, the low wooden beams of the structure that have supported so many families over generations. This is the heart of nomadic life, the place where the trials of the steppes are brought to rest, even if only for a time. And in this fleeting moment, you realize just how much you've come to depend on this community. Without the others, without their strength, without their wisdom, none of you would have made it through the storm. But as you rest, you know this peace is only temporary. The steppes are always waiting, always testing you, never letting you forget how fragile survival truly is. Tomorrow, the storm will have passed, but the cold will remain. The journey will continue, and with it, the never-ending challenge of surviving in this wild, frozen landscape. Still, for now, you allow yourself to drift into a much-needed rest. The wind outside howls, but inside the yurt, there's a comforting stillness. The warmth of the fire, the presence of those around you, and the quiet crackle of the flames are enough to lull you into a deep, uninterrupted sleep. The trials of the day fade into the background, leaving only the memory of the storm and the promise of another day to come. In the morning, when you awaken, the storm will have passed, the skies clear and blue, and the steppes will stretch out before you once more. But for tonight, you rest knowing that in the life of a Kazakh nomad, rest is as precious as food, as vital as water. You've earned it, and tomorrow, when you rise, the journey will continue, as it always does. The steppes will challenge you, but you will face them, one step at a time, with the same resilience, the same courage, and the same will to survive that has kept your people going for centuries. For now, as you close your eyes and drift deeper into sleep, you let the warmth of the yurt embrace you. You are safe, you are warm, and most importantly, you are alive. Tomorrow, the journey will continue, and you will rise to meet it, knowing that no storm, no matter how fierce, can break the bond between the nomads and the land they call home. As you witness the relentless cold, the fierce winds, and the treacherous snow, you come to understand just how extraordinary the resilience of the Kazakh nomads is. Their journey across the steppes is not simply a passage of distance, but a test of endurance, knowledge, and adaptability. The very landscape that could crush others becomes a canvas upon which the nomads paint their lives, using centuries-old methods passed down from generation to generation. These nomads are more than just survivors. They are experts in the land they call home. The journey they take across the vast steppes, despite all the challenges, is a testament to their deep connection to the land and to each other. They have learned to work with the land, to respect the forces of nature, and to understand the cycles of the seasons. Through their perseverance and knowledge, they continue to thrive in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. And so, with each step you take alongside them, feeling the snow beneath your feet, hearing the wind howling across the plain, and seeing the endless stretch of white before you, you understand that this journey, harsh as it may be, is a part of a much larger story. It is the story of survival, resilience, and an unbreakable bond between people, animals, and the land they call home. In the vast, snow-covered expanse of the steppes, your livelihood depends heavily on the health and strength of your livestock. The horses, cattle, and sheep that travel with you are not just animals. They are your lifeline. These creatures provide everything from milk and meat to wool and hides. Without them, survival would be nearly impossible, especially during the long, harsh winter months. The challenge begins the moment winter sets in. The cold can be brutal, sinking deep into the bones of both human and beast. For your animals, the biting winds and sub-zero temperatures are a constant threat. You have to be vigilant, ensuring that the animals stay warm and healthy. The wind can easily freeze the hooves of your horses, leaving them unable to travel or pull the sleds. The cattle need extra care, as their thick coats can easily hide the signs of frostbite, especially in the harshest conditions. In addition to the cold, food and water are scarce. The streams and rivers freeze over, and the sparse winter vegetation is buried under thick layers of snow. The animals can't forage as they would in the warmer months, and it becomes your responsibility to provide them with hay, grains, or whatever food you can gather. Water becomes a challenge too. You have to break the ice on the water holes or carry water with you, ensuring that your animals can stay hydrated through the long, cold days. Every day, you check on your animals, making sure they have enough food and are protected from the worst of the weather. You cover them with blankets or hide when necessary, and even move them to sheltered spots where the wind can't reach them. The bond between you and your livestock is undeniable. They are the heart of your survival, and their well-being is your highest priority. The bond you share with your animals goes beyond simple necessity. It's a deep, almost instinctual connection. As you walk among them, your heart swells with a sense of responsibility, knowing that their lives are just as fragile as your own in this frozen landscape. They depend on you for warmth, sustenance, and safety. And in return, they provide you with everything you need to survive. You carefully inspect each of them, from the horses with their strong, muscular frames to the sheep huddling together for warmth. The cattle, their thick coats a shield against the worst of the cold, still require your watchful eye. You run your hands over their fur, searching for any signs of frostbite or illness. The animals may not speak, but their movements, the slight shiver of a horse's leg, the stiff gait of a cow, all tell you everything you need to know. The cold is relentless. Even with your best efforts, the chill seeps through every layer of clothing you wear. It's a constant battle against the elements, and there are no easy days. You find yourself checking on them more frequently, especially when the winds howl louder or the temperatures dip even lower. When the weather grows more severe, you find yourself thinking more like an animal than a human, instinctively protecting your herd like the predators that roam the land, making sure they are safely sheltered from the wind's sharp bite. As the days stretch on and the snow continues to pile up, you realize just how vital the careful planning and preparation of the autumn months were. The hay you harvested, the grains you stored, the water you gathered, all these things now become the foundation of your survival. But even with supplies at hand, every decision feels like a gamble. How much longer will you be able to keep your herd fed and healthy? How much longer will your stores last? The questions echo in your mind with each passing day. And though there's little room for doubt, the stakes have never been higher. Feeding the animals in winter is a delicate balance. You must ration out the hay and grains, watching them consume the precious food with the same desperate hunger you feel yourself. The land has little to offer in the winter months, no fresh pasture for grazing, no plants to supplement their diet. Everything is buried under layers of snow. You are forced to make difficult choices, deciding how much of your limited resources to give to each animal. Will the horses have enough energy to pull the sleds for another day? Can the sheep survive the cold without getting sick? How much food can you spare for them without starving yourself in the process? Water, too, becomes a struggle. The rivers, which in summer would flow freely, are now locked beneath thick layers of ice. The water holes where the animals drink are frozen solid, and you have to break through the thick, stubborn ice to let the horses and cattle drink. It's exhausting work. The cold bites at your fingers, and the cracks in the ice seem endless. But you keep going. For them, you must make sure they stay hydrated, just as you must ensure they're fed. At night, you gather together in the yurt, the warmth of the fire slowly chasing away the chill from your body. But even here, the responsibility doesn't end. You are constantly aware of the animals outside, huddling in their own warmth beneath layers of blankets or hide. You check on them again before you settle to sleep, making sure they're safe and secure, their breathing steady and calm. Only then can you allow yourself to rest. The night is long, but the quiet, comforting rhythm of the yurt offers brief solace from the brutal realities of the outside world. In the mornings, the cold greets you like an old, uninvited guest. The wind is sharp, and the snow has built up once again, a constant reminder of the harshness of winter. Yet, there is always work to be done. There is no time to pause or feel sorry for yourself. The survival of your animals depends on you, and with each step you take, each decision you make, you carry the weight of their lives in your hands. But despite the challenges, there is something powerful about the knowledge that, together with your herd, you can endure. The animals are more than just part of your livelihood. They are your family, the very heart of the nomadic life. You are bound together by a deep connection, an understanding forged through hardship and shared survival. You have seen the seasons change, felt the harshness of the winter winds, and yet here you are, still moving, still surviving, still trusting in each other. The bond between the nomad and the animals is more than just a practical necessity. It's a partnership, one rooted in respect, patience, and an unspoken understanding. In this frozen wilderness, where every breath is a battle against the cold, where the land can seem both endless and suffocating, the survival of your herd is intertwined with your own. And as long as they are strong, as long as they are with you, you will continue to push forward together. In the quiet moments when you're gathered around the fire, the flickering light dancing in the warmth of the yurt, you can't help but feel a deep gratitude for the animals that share this journey with you. They are more than just livestock. They are life. They are survival. And in the harshest winter of your life, they are your greatest companions. As the steps stretch out before you, a landscape of endless snow and biting cold, you know that hunting will be a vital part of your survival. The livestock may provide much of your food, but hunting in the winter is essential for supplementing your supplies, providing variety, and giving your people something beyond the predictable meals of meat and preserved food. The land is quiet, the only sounds being the soft crunch of snow beneath your feet and the occasional distant call of a wild animal. The animals of the steppes, deer, foxes, hares, have adapted to the harsh conditions, but they are still vulnerable in the deep winter months. Their tracks are often the only clues you have, as they seek shelter in the sparse woods or huddle in protected areas. Hunting in winter is a skill passed down through generations. It's a waiting game. The cold doesn't stop, but the animals are wary, their survival instincts heightened by the dangers of the season. You track your prey through the snow, reading the faint impressions left in the ice. Every broken twig, every subtle change in the snow tells you where your prey has been. You move silently, your breath visible in the frigid air, the bow in your hands feeling like an extension of yourself. Your arrows are sharp, your aim true. There is little room for error. One misstep could mean hours of tracking in a storm or the loss of a meal. You may also use traps and snares, carefully set up in the paths of animals you know frequent certain routes. The quiet tension of the hunt fills the air as you wait for the perfect moment to strike. When you do succeed, there is a sense of relief. The animals you hunt provide more than just food. Their pelts will keep your family warm, their bones can be used for tools, and their hides for shelter. But every hunt is a reminder of the delicate balance between survival and scarcity. The steppes can be unforgiving, and hunting, while necessary, is never guaranteed. The success of the hunt is a fleeting relief. As you stand over the fallen animal, your breath heavy in the cold air, there's a deep sense of gratitude that fills you, but also an unspoken understanding of the harsh reality of this life. The steppes are unforgiving, and every meal, every resource is earned through sweat, patience, and skill. Even the smallest victory is never certain. The hunt could have gone differently. The animal could have slipped away, or the storm could have turned the tracks into a blur, leaving you with nothing but the bitter cold and the relentless wind. Now that you have secured your prize, the work doesn't end. The process of butchering, skinning, and preserving the animal begins immediately. There is no time to waste. You must be swift and efficient, as the cold can spoil fresh meat faster than you can realize. You strip the hide from the animal, working with hands that have become numb from the cold, and then carefully remove the meat, cutting it into manageable pieces. Every part of the animal will serve a purpose. The meat will be salted, dried, or cooked immediately to sustain you through the coming days, while the pelt will be treated, dried, and turned into clothing or blankets. The bones, too, are valuable, not just as tools but as a symbol of respect for the life you've taken. You know that nothing should go to waste, that every part of the animal has value. As you work, your mind drifts to the animals back at your yurt. The same vigilance you bring to the hunt must be applied to the herds you care for. The harsh winter winds, the limited food, and the endless snow all combine to make even the strongest of animals vulnerable. It's a constant balance, this life of survival, where every decision from hunting to preserving food hinges on the hope that it will be enough to last through the next storm, through the next cold snap. When the hunt is over, when the meat is secured, and the pelts are prepared, there's a moment of quiet satisfaction that settles in. You return to your yurt, carrying the spoils of your labor, your heart lighter than it was in the cold expanse of the steppes. But even then, the weight of survival is never far behind. The next hunt, the next journey, will be just as uncertain. And yet, you continue, as do the generations before you, learning, adapting, and enduring in the face of one of the harshest environments on Earth. There is a rhythm to this life. the hunting, the herding, the constant battle against the elements. It's a life that teaches you to respect the land, to live in harmony with it, yet never forget its power to take everything away. In this frozen wilderness, survival is not just about providing for yourself. It's about ensuring the future, about passing down the knowledge, the skills, and the strength needed to endure. You've seen it in the eyes of the elders, who have weathered the storms and taught you how to read the signs of the land. You see it in the eyes of the children, who will one day take on the same challenges, and you realize that you are part of something much larger, a cycle of life that continues through the coldest winters, the harshest blizzards, and the fiercest of storms. And so, with every hunt, with every careful step you take through the snow, you know that you are not just surviving, you are living, thriving, and doing so with a deep respect for the land, for the animals, and for the life that has been passed down through countless generations. The hunt is more than a quest for food. It's a reminder that in this place of endless snow and biting cold, resilience is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to those who come after you. As the day fades into the long, cold night, you sit around the fire, the warmth a welcome comfort against the frost that still clings to your skin. The meat from your hunt sizzles over the flames, its aroma filling the yurt, and for a moment, you let yourself relax. There will be more challenges ahead, more hardships to face, but for now, you've earned this moment of peace. And in the stillness of the night, as you listen to the wind outside, you are reminded once again, survival in the steppes is not just a test of strength, but of patience, wisdom, and the unyielding will to carry on. Once you've secured your food, the next challenge is preservation. In the freezing temperatures, meat, fish, and vegetables can last longer than they would in warmer months. But you can't take chances. Preserving food is a way of ensuring survival throughout the winter, when fresh supplies are impossible to come by. You begin the preservation process with the meat from your hunts or your livestock. The meat is first butchered and then salted heavily. Salt acts as a preservative, drawing out moisture from the meat, which helps it last longer in the freezing conditions. The salted meat is then hung in the cold air or kept in sheltered areas away from the worst of the storm. The colder the environment, the longer the food will last, and the meat hardens in the chill, waiting to be used. Fish, which can be caught in the rivers before they freeze, is also carefully preserved. In some cases, you dry the fish in the open air, allowing the cold to do much of the work, turning it into jerky or dried strips that will last for months. The process is painstaking, but it's one that has kept your people alive for generations. The work is relentless, but so is the need to keep your supplies up. Vegetables, when they're available, are stored in the same way. Root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and turnips are buried beneath the snow, often in small caches near your yurt or campsite, where the temperature remains constant. In some cases, vegetables are dried or smoked, just like the meat. The skills of preservation are a mix of trial, error, and centuries of experience. The ability to store food properly means the difference between abundance and starvation. Beyond the meat and food, animal products play an essential role in surviving the harsh winter. The wool of your sheep, the hides of the cattle, and the furs of wild animals are as necessary as any foodstuff. You use the wool to weave warm clothing, socks, cloaks, blankets, and mittens, items that will protect you from the cold, biting winds of the steppes. The warmth of wool, even when wet, is unmatched, and it's a critical part of keeping your body temperature up in sub-zero conditions. The hides, once properly treated, serve multiple purposes. They're used to create new yurts, repair old sleds, and make shoes that can withstand the snow and ice. In addition, you fashion ropes, bags, and tools from leather, all essential items that make daily life possible in this frozen land. The bones and sinews are turned into tools, knives, or decorations, ensuring that no part of the animal goes to waste. Winter, though brutal, is a time of incredible resourcefulness. The skill of the Kazakh nomads lies not just in hunting, herding, and surviving the cold, but in using everything the land and their animals provide. The ability to make full use of every part of their environment, from the food they consume to the clothing they wear and the shelters they build, is what allows them to survive the relentless winter months. These 4 sections outline the crucial elements of survival for the Kazakh nomads during the harsh winter months. From the essential practice of animal husbandry to the time-honored traditions of hunting and food preservation, these strategies allow the nomads to navigate the steppes with resilience and ingenuity. Let me know if you need further expansion on any of the points. The resourcefulness of the Kazakh nomads goes far beyond mere survival. In the harsh winters of the steppes, every part of the animal, every scrap of material, and every resource must be used to its fullest potential. It's not just about getting by, it's about thriving, in the sense that one can in such a brutal environment. Each day is a careful balancing act between meeting the immediate needs of food, warmth, and shelter, and preparing for the future, where the next storm, the next hunt, or the next shortage could make life that much harder. As you sit around the fire, you can see the results of this ingenuity. Your thick woolen socks, crafted by the women of the yurt, are a testament to the hours of work spent carding and spinning the wool. The mittens on your hands, woven tightly, are your shield against the bitter wind that cuts through the air. The warmth they provide is a small luxury in a land where every layer, every piece of clothing, is vital. You pull the woolen cloak tighter around your shoulders, feeling its comforting weight as it keeps the cold at bay. The cloak, like the other woolen garments, was made from the fleeces of the sheep that graze the steppes, the very sheep that have been your companions through many winters. Even in this quiet moment, surrounded by warmth and the crackling fire, you know that survival is never guaranteed. The wool, while a blessing, is only one part of the puzzle. The hides you have tanned yourself, stretched and scraped over the course of many days, will also play their part. The thick leather shoes that protect your feet from the ice are not just footwear, they are a lifeline. Without them, the sharp frozen ground would tear at your skin, and the cold would seep into your bones. The hides also contribute to the structure of the yurt, providing a solid, insulating covering that keeps the warmth inside, protecting you from the harsh winds that whip through the steppes. The leather is used to mend sleds and harnesses, ensuring that your transport and tools are in working order, despite the damage caused by the relentless cold. Even the bones of the animals are valuable. Some are shaped into tools and knives, others into ornaments or decorations, adding a touch of personal craftsmanship to your daily life. The sinews, strong and flexible, become ropes and threads used for binding, repairing, and securing all the essentials that must be in place for the nomadic life to continue. Every piece of animal, whether it's the wool from the sheep, the hide of a deer, or the sinew from a wild animal, is considered sacred in a way. They are not merely resources, they are gifts from the land, hard, won, and essential for the survival of the people. And for the Kazakh nomads, nothing is ever wasted. Even the smallest bone fragment or bit of fur has a purpose, contributing to the larger tapestry of life that sustains the community through the most unforgiving seasons. Winter, in its harshest moments, becomes a time of deep reflection and resourcefulness. Every morning, you rise and assess the needs of your yurt, your herd, and yourself. The animals must be cared for, the fire stoked, the food and water supplies replenished. The cold, despite being a constant, is also a force that keeps the community united. There is no room for weakness or complacency here. The weather demands respect, and yet, despite the challenges, there is a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from this life. It's not an easy existence, but it's a life of profound connection to the land and to each other. As night falls and the temperature plummets once again, you are reminded of the resilience that defines the Kazakh nomadic spirit. Each successful hunt, each fleece harvested, each leather hide tanned, and each meal prepared is not just an act of survival, but an act of mastery over the land that you inhabit. You do not merely exist here, you live, thrive, and adapt to every challenge that the steppes throw your way. The ability to make full use of every resource is what has allowed the Kazakh people to endure for centuries. In the freezing cold, when every inch of warmth is precious and every meal a hard-earned prize, this way of life becomes not just a way of survival, but a testament to the strength, wisdom, and unity of the nomadic people. The winter may be long, but with each passing day, you learn more about the land, about your animals, and about the endless well of resilience that runs through your veins. And so, you carry on from hunt to hunt, from shelter to shelter, always preparing, always adapting. The steppes may be cold and unyielding, but with every piece of fur, wool, and bone, you carve out your place in this vast, frozen wilderness, holding tight to the survival skills passed down through generations. You know that tomorrow, when the sun rises over the snow-covered plain, you will begin again stronger, wiser, and more attuned to the land that is both your home and your greatest challenge. As the bitter winds howl outside, you find solace inside the yurt, your refuge from the unrelenting cold. The structure itself is a marvel of nomadic design, circular, sturdy, and insulated with layers of wool and felt. The yurt is the heart of your community, where family and friends gather together, sharing not just the warmth of the fire, but also their lives, their stories, and their daily efforts to survive the harsh winter. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of wood smoke and the warmth of the stove that crackles softly in the center. You can feel the heat gradually thawing the cold from your limbs, the fire providing a stark contrast to the frozen world outside. The flickering light casts shadows on the walls, and the hum of the community fills the space, the sound of children playing, of adults working, of voices raised in conversation. The yurt is not just a shelter. It is a space for living, a gathering place where everyone contributes to the day-to-day activities that keep the community going. Here, the bonds of family and community are strengthened. Every member of the yurt plays a role in ensuring that survival is possible, from tending to the animals outside to preparing meals, repairing tools, and preserving the resources that will get everyone through the winter months. During the long nights, When the storm rages outside and the darkness feels endless, you gather together with your family. The quiet stillness of the yurt becomes a source of comfort. You teach your children the skills they will need to survive, passing down the knowledge of how to weave, sew, and mend. The children, wide-eyed and eager, learn the names of the tools, the ways of the land, and the stories of their ancestors that have kept this nomadic way of life alive for generations. The cold outside is ever present, but inside the yurt, there is warmth not just from the fire, but from the closeness of your community. The intimacy of the yurt is something you cherish deeply, especially on those long, cold nights when the wind howls mercilessly outside. Within these walls, the world feels smaller, more manageable, and the warmth of the fire is a shared experience, one that connects everyone inside, from the eldest elder to the youngest child. As the fire crackles and the embers glow, the conversation flows easily. It's here that wisdom is passed down, experiences are shared, and bonds are solidified. The children's laughter rings out as they play games, using whatever they can find, wooden toys, animal bones, or scraps of fabric, creating imaginary worlds where the snow and cold are forgotten. The elders, though not as physically active as the younger ones, find their place as the storytellers, the teachers. With a quiet authority, they tell stories of the past, of heroic ancestors who braved the same winds and survived the same winters. The tales are rich with history, with moments of triumph and loss, and each story carries with it a lesson about survival, strength, and the spirit of the Kazakh people. As you sit around the fire, your hands busy with mending clothing or preparing food, you reflect on the cyclical nature of life here. These traditions have been passed down for generations, and you can see the thread of continuity in the eyes of your children. They are learning to survive, yes, but they are also learning to live. They will carry these lessons forward, just as you carry the lessons taught to you by your parents and their parents before them. It is in these moments of quiet learning, of work shared among family, that the very essence of nomadic life is preserved. As the hours pass, the community begins to settle into a rhythm. Some continue to work, stitching clothes, grinding grains, or fixing tools, while others share stories or simply sit in silence, enjoying the company of those around them. You notice that despite the cold, despite the storms that rage outside, there is a sense of contentment here. The yurt is more than just a shelter from the storm. It is a home, a place of safety, warmth, and togetherness. The struggles of the outside world, the freezing winds, the snow-covered plains, the endless search for food and water feel distant when you are surrounded by those you love and those who love you in return. The sound of the wind outside becomes more distant as the night wears on. The storm, though fierce, no longer feels like a threat. You know that, in the morning, you will rise and face it once more. But for tonight, there is peace. The fire crackles softly, casting flickering shadows on the walls of the yurt, and the warmth spreads through your bones. You are alive, you are safe, and you are surrounded by those who share your struggles and joys. The nomadic way of life is not an easy one, but it is a life built on resilience, community, and the warmth that comes from being close to those who matter most. As the night deepens and the fire dims, you find yourself closing your eyes, the quiet hum of the yurt lulling you into a peaceful sleep. The wind continues to howl outside, but inside, you are safe. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new obstacles to overcome. But for now, the peace of the yurt holds you in its embrace. And as you drift off to sleep, you know that, together, you and your family will face whatever comes next, as nomads have done for generations, surviving and thriving in the face of winter's relentless cold. The heart of life inside the yurt is family. In the winter months, survival depends on working together, and every member of the household has a role to play. As you sit with your family, you're surrounded by the familiar sounds of daily life, the rhythm of tasks being completed, the voices of your children asking questions, the steady click of needles and threads as your relatives sew the clothing and blankets that will protect everyone from the cold. Cooking is one of the most important activities during the long winter nights. In the warmth of the yurt, you prepare meals from the meat and preserved foods gathered from the hunts. The dried fish and salted meat carefully prepared to last through the months. The scent of simmering stews and fresh bread fills the air, and as the food is shared, so too are the stories of the day. Each meal is an opportunity to bond, to share in the fruits of your labor, and to plan for the days ahead. In the evenings, the children gather around, eager to learn from the elders. They are taught everything from basic survival skills, like how to tie knots or build a fire, to the deeper wisdom that has been passed down through the ages, the importance of the land, the animals, and the cycles of the seasons. These lessons are not just practical, they are woven into the very fabric of your identity as a nomad. You teach them how to respect the land, how to listen to the wind and the snow, how to read the signs that nature gives. Even in the face of adversity, you maintain a sense of humor and lightness in these moments. Family activities, while often centered around survival, are also filled with joy. You make time for laughter, for games, and for the comfort that comes with being close to those you love. Despite the harshness of the world outside, inside the yurt, there is a sense of peace and unity that keeps everyone grounded. As the evening wears on, the sound of laughter becomes more frequent, mingling with the soft crackling of the fire. The children play games with each other, simple games, but full of energy and imagination. They race to gather the firewood, or challenge one another to see who can hold a position the longest, pretending to be animals or hunters on the steppes. Their giggles are contagious, and even the most exhausted members of the family can't help but smile at their antics. In the corner, the elders share tales of the past, stories of ancestors who braved the same steppes, fought off the same fierce storms, and survived through the harsh winters of their time. Their voices, low and steady, weave a tapestry of history that binds you to the land and your heritage. Each story is a thread in the fabric of your nomadic life, a reminder of how far your people have come and the strength that runs through your veins. These stories are as much a part of your education as the survival skills you teach your children. The values of resilience, adaptability, and respect for nature are passed down through the generations. And as you listen, you realize that they are the pillars that support this way of life. As the night grows deeper and the storm outside intensifies, you find yourself gathering closer to the fire, the warmth spreading through your limbs, melting away the fatigue of the day. The yurt feels like a world of its own, insulated not only from the cold but from the struggles that await beyond its walls. Inside, there is only the present moment, a time for connection, a time for togetherness, where survival and joy are intertwined. The wind may be howling and the cold may be pressing against the yurt. But in this space, you know you are safe. The food shared, the games played, the lessons taught, they are all part of the larger picture of your survival, part of the spirit that keeps the community strong through the harshest of winters. Every person inside the yurt plays a role, no matter how small it may seem, and together you create a network of support that ensures everyone's well-being. Even when the tasks of the day are complete, the work of keeping the community connected continues. The adults find time to repair tools, sew new garments, or tend to the animals. You and your family exchange quiet words, sharing thoughts, hopes, and worries for the future. As the youngest ones fall asleep by the fire, exhausted from the day's play, the older generations remain awake, continuing their quiet tasks, yet always within the circle of light and warmth. Outside, the storm continues to rage, but inside, time seems to slow, creating a sense of peace. The yurt is a haven, a place where the family can come together not just to survive, but to thrive. In these intimate, quiet moments, the true strength of the nomadic way of life is revealed. It is in the bonds of family, in the shared responsibilities, in the resilience built by generations who have lived and died by these very traditions. As you drift into sleep, the sound of the wind outside becomes a lullaby, a reminder that you are not alone in this vast, frozen land. Your community is your lifeline, and in this circle of warmth and unity, you are more than just individuals. You are a family, a community, and a part of something much greater than the sum of your efforts. The steps may be unforgiving, but within the walls of the yurt, you know that together you can face whatever the winter brings. Tomorrow you will wake up and face the cold again. There will be more work, more challenges, more moments of struggle. But for now, in the warmth of the yurt, you rest easy, knowing that you are surrounded by the strength of your family, the knowledge of your ancestors, and the love that binds you all together. And with that, you can face whatever the coming days will bring. The long, cold days of winter are not just for surviving, they are a time for creating. The nomadic people of Kazakhstan have honed a variety of traditional crafts that help them maintain their lifestyle and ensure they can keep going through the harshest seasons. Inside the yurt, the air hums with the sound of hands at work, shaping the tools, clothing, and shelter that will support your family throughout the long winter. You may find yourself weaving wool into sturdy, warm fabrics, a task passed down through generations. The wool from your sheep is spun into thread, then woven into socks, mittens, and cloaks that will provide warmth during the coldest days. You also make blankets, the soft, insulating layers that will protect you as you sleep under the frigid night sky. Leatherworking is another essential craft. The hides of your cattle, sheep, and even the animals you hunt are transformed into clothing, shoes, harnesses, and saddles. The skill of working with leather is vital for creating durable, long-lasting items that will withstand the harsh winter conditions. You repair sleds, mend bags, and fashion tools and accessories that make daily life easier and more efficient. These crafts are not just practical. They are a form of artistry, creating beautiful and functional items that connect you to the land and your ancestors. The yurt becomes a workshop during the winter, with everyone contributing to the creation of the things that make life possible in such a harsh environment. Each crafted item carries the weight of your heritage, And the skill you put into your work is a reflection of your deep connection to the nomadic way of life. It's a constant cycle of creating, using, and creating again. As the days stretch on, the work inside the yurt continues without pause. The sound of the loom's rhythmic clatter, the steady movement of needles through fabric, and the sharp crack of a knife cutting leather fill the air, blending together into the hum of daily life. It is not a hurried or frantic sound, but a steady, purposeful rhythm, one that echoes the resilience of your people. Every item created serves a purpose to keep your family warm, to protect your animals, and to ensure that the cycle of life continues despite the relentless cold outside. You spend hours at the loom, the wool from your sheep slipping through your fingers as it transforms into something both practical and beautiful. Each thread woven into place represents not just a garment, but a connection to your past. The patterns in the fabric are not arbitrary. They carry the stories of generations who have lived in these harsh lands, weaving symbols of protection, strength, and endurance into every piece. The finished socks, mittens, and cloaks are more than just clothing. They are the embodiment of your people's spirit, made with hands that know the land and its demands. Leatherworking is just as vital. As you work the hides, the smell of raw leather fills the yurt, and your hands become skilled in the art of crafting durable items. Shoes, so important to protect against the icy ground, are shaped and stitched with care. Harnesses and saddles are repaired or made anew, ensuring that your sleds and carts are in working order for the journey ahead. Even the smallest scrap of leather is repurposed, transformed into ropes, bags, and other tools that make life in the wilderness easier. The sound of the leather being stretched and sewn, the skillful shaping of each piece, is a reminder that survival in the steppes requires both function and artistry. Each day, the tasks of creation continue. The men and women of the yurt work together, each one contributing to the larger goal of ensuring that the family, the herd, and the community can endure the harsh winter. In the evening, after a day of labor, the work continues. The warmth of the fire casts a soft glow on the work being done, the mending of clothes, the sewing of blankets, the carving of tools. But even in these moments of quiet labor, there is joy. The shared effort of the group, the knowledge that each stitch, each cut, each weave will contribute to the well-being of the family, is a source of pride. As the cold continues to press in, you can't help but feel a sense of pride in your work. Every crafted item, whether it's a woolen cloak or a leather saddle, represents not just your skill, but your ability to adapt, to survive, and to thrive in a land that demands so much. The harshness of the steppes is undeniable, but inside the yurt, there is warmth, there is creation, and there is a deep connection to the land that you and your ancestors have called home for centuries. And as the days turn to weeks and the weeks into months, you realize that this constant cycle of creation, use, and creation again is what defines the nomadic way of life. The yurt becomes more than just a shelter. It is a place where the heart of your culture beats. It is where the work is done, where the family comes together, and where, despite the challenges of the outside world, you continue to thrive. In the quiet moments, as you step back and admire the work you've done, you can see the fruits of your labor taking shape, the sturdy boots that will protect your feet in the snow, the thick blankets that will keep you warm during the long nights, and the woven baskets that will carry the precious resources that sustain your family. Each item is a testament to your resilience, your creativity, and your commitment to the nomadic life. And as you settle in for another night by the fire, the soft glow of the flames illuminates not just the work you've done, but the enduring spirit of a people who know how to survive and thrive in the harshest of conditions. Even in the harshest of winters, when the world outside is covered in snow and the cold cuts deep, the Kazakh nomads know the importance of keeping their spirits high. One of the most cherished traditions is communal storytelling, gathering around the fire, recounting the tales of your ancestors, sharing the history of your people, and the legends that have been passed down for generations. These stories are not only a means of entertainment, they are also lessons, tales of survival, of resilience, of strength, and of unity. As the fire crackles and the wind howls outside, the voices inside the yurt rise in harmony. Elders tell stories of past hunts, of the great warriors who once roamed the steppes, of the animals that roamed the land, and of the spirits who watch over the people. The children listen intently, their wide eyes reflecting the flickering flames as they soak in the wisdom and wonder of the tales. These stories form the backbone of the nomadic identity, a link between generations and a reminder of the strength and endurance that runs through the blood of every Kazakh nomad. In addition to storytelling, winter games are an important part of life inside the yurt. The cold can make everything feel slow and heavy, but games, even simple ones, are a way to bring laughter and joy into the yurt. These games are often physical, relying on the agility and strength that will serve the children well as they grow older. They run races, challenge each other to feats of strength, or play tug-of-war with ropes made of animal sinew. Even as the snow piles up outside, the warmth and energy inside the yurt make it a space where life thrives in all its forms. In this way, even during the darkest and coldest of times, the nomads maintain their traditions, ensuring that survival is not just about enduring the physical challenges of winter, but about nurturing the spirit, maintaining hope, and keeping the community strong. Through games, stories, and shared laughter, the nomads of Kazakhstan preserve not just their culture, but the bond that ties them together as they continue to face the unyielding challenges of the steppes. As the night stretches on and the warmth of the fire fills the yurt, the laughter and joy of the games seem to push back the darkness outside. The wind howls louder, but inside there is a peaceful hum of activity. The children, flushed from their games, curl up on the thick rugs and blankets, while the elders continue their storytelling, their voices growing softer as the night deepens. Some of the younger ones fall asleep, nestled close to their parents, while others stay awake, wide-eyed and eager for more tales. These stories are more than just entertainment. They are the foundation of the nomadic way of life. They tell of battles fought and won, of the spirits that walk the land, and of the animals that share the steppes with the people. They are tales of hardship and survival, passed down through the ages, woven into the very fabric of your identity as a Kazakh nomad. The lessons within them about perseverance, unity, respect for nature, and the strength of the community are as vital as the food and warmth that keep you alive. As the stories continue, they intertwine with the sound of the wind outside, creating a rhythm that lulls everyone into a quiet, contemplative state. The fire's glow dances on the walls of the yurt, casting flickering shadows that seem to bring the past to life. The spirits of ancestors, warriors, and animals from the stories seem to be present, as if they are sitting beside you, watching over you as you share this moment together. But the night isn't just about stories, it's about connection. As you sit with your family and your community, you realize that even in the coldest, darkest winters, the warmth of shared experiences and traditions can make the world outside seem far away. The bonds you form here, around the fire, are stronger than the winds that batter the yurt or the snow that piles up outside. In these moments, you are not just surviving, you are living, you are thriving, and you are part of something much larger than yourself. As the fire burns low, and the last of the children drift off to sleep, you reflect on the power of these shared rituals. The stories, the games, the laughter, all of these things nourish not just your body but your spirit. In a world where survival can seem uncertain, where every day is a challenge, these traditions remind you of what it means to be human. They are a testament to the resilience of the Kazakh nomads, who have weathered countless storms and survived the harshest winters because they have always had each other. And so, as you prepare for sleep, the soft murmur of your family's voices blending with the crackling of the fire, you know that tomorrow will bring more challenges. The storm may still rage outside, and the cold will continue to press against the walls of the yurt, but within, there is warmth, there is unity, there is the strength of generations past, present, and future. The bond of community, of family, and of tradition is a shield against the harshness of the world outside, one that will keep you strong and together through the darkest and coldest of times. As you close your eyes, the echoes of the night stories linger in your mind, a final thought before sleep takes over. Tomorrow, you will wake up and face another day, but tonight, you are safe. Tonight, the nomadic spirit is alive, strong, and enduring. And with that, you drift off, knowing that the community, the stories, and the shared laughter will continue to guide you through the storms ahead. The steppes, blanketed in snow and constantly buffeted by harsh winds, can seem like an unforgiving landscape. Yet, amidst this vast, frozen wilderness, the Kazakh nomads continue to live and thrive. Despite the extreme cold, which can plummet to -40 degrees Celsius, these nomads display extraordinary strength and resilience. It is not merely survival that they strive for, but endurance, the ability to live in harmony with the land, despite the brutality it often inflicts. The resilience of the Kazakh nomads is rooted in their adaptability. For centuries, they have perfected the art of surviving in one of the most challenging climates on Earth. Their bodies have adapted to the cold. Their clothing and tools are designed to withstand the most severe conditions, and their knowledge of the land allows them to navigate the harshest winters with a deep understanding of the rhythms of nature. Each winter brings its own set of challenges, but through experience and ingenuity, the Kazakh nomads have learned how to anticipate and overcome them. This strength and endurance are not just physical. The harsh conditions demand mental fortitude as well. Every day is a test of resilience, of waking up to the frigid air and knowing that survival depends on your actions, on the way you care for your animals, preserve food, and protect your family from the biting cold. It is a constant battle, one that requires unwavering determination and the deep-rooted knowledge passed down through generations. Each day on the steppes is a test of will. The sun barely rises in winter, casting long, cold shadows over the land, and the air is so sharp that every breath feels like it cuts straight through to your bones. The silence of the snow-covered plains is profound, broken only by the distant howl of the wind or the crunch of your boots in the deep snow. But the nomads are not deterred. They have learned to make peace with the harshness of the environment, accepting that survival is a daily challenge, not a guarantee. Living through these extreme conditions requires not only physical endurance, but mental toughness. The Kazakh nomads are well versed in this unspoken resilience. They wake every day knowing that the simple tasks, feeding the livestock, maintaining the yurt, keeping the fire burning, are all part of the greater fight for survival. Every small victory, whether it's ensuring the animals are fed, the wood is dry, or the meat is preserved, is a testament to their ability to adapt. They don't just endure, they master the land, finding ways to live with it rather than be consumed by it. But it is not just knowledge and physical endurance that keeps them going, it is their unshakable sense of unity. The Kazakh nomads understand that strength lies not only in the individual, but in the community. Every task, whether large or small, is done together. The bond between family members is unbreakable, and everyone has their role to play. From the youngest child learning to tie knots to the eldest teaching survival skills. Working together makes the hardships more bearable, and each member of the community draws strength from the others. In these long winters, the nomads have learned to find joy in the little things. Laughter echoes through the yurt as children play simple games and the elders share stories around the fire. These moments of connection and lightheartedness are what help maintain the strength to carry on. For the Kazakh people, life is not just about surviving. It's about finding meaning in every action, no matter how small, and understanding that their way of life is built on the endurance of generations past and the knowledge they carry forward. As the wind continues to whip the snow into a frenzy outside, the nomads settle into their daily routine with a sense of quiet determination. The harshness of the environment may never relent, but neither will they. It's in these moments of hardship, when the cold seems unbearable, when the wind threatens to tear everything apart, that the true strength of the Kazakh nomads shines through. They have learned to thrive in the most challenging of environments, finding beauty in survival, strength in unity, and resilience in their way of life. The brutal winters of the steppes are a reminder that nothing is certain. But for the Kazakh nomads, it is this uncertainty that fuels their will to endure. They have faced countless storms, survived freezing nights and relentless cold, and continue to pass down their knowledge and traditions. With each passing winter, they grow stronger, and with each storm they face, their resilience deepens. Through the harshest conditions, they prove that survival is not simply about physical strength. It is about the spirit that refuses to be broken, the unity that holds them together, and the enduring bond between the land and its people. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. The wind may howl even louder, and the snow may fall thicker. But the Kazakh nomads know that as long as they stand together, as long as they remain adaptable, and as long as they never lose sight of the wisdom passed down through generations, they will continue to thrive. For in the face of nature's most brutal tests, it is the resilience of the people that will always prevail. The survival of the Kazakh nomads during the brutal winter months is not just about individual strength. It is also about the strength of the community. The nomadic way of life revolves around tight-knit family groups that work together to endure the challenges of the cold season. Each person plays a role, and everyone's contribution is vital to the well-being of the group. The family is the cornerstone of the Kazakh nomadic lifestyle. Parents teach their children the skills needed to survive, passing down essential knowledge about herding, hunting, and the use of tools. The elders are often the keepers of wisdom, sharing stories of past winters and the lessons learned through hardship. The bond between family members is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without this unity, survival in such an extreme environment would be impossible. But beyond the immediate family, the broader community plays an equally important role. Nomadic groups, while often small, depend on one another for support and cooperation. In times of scarcity or during particularly brutal storms, the community bands together. Resources, whether food, firewood, or even knowledge, are shared, ensuring that no one is left behind. The nomadic lifestyle is one of mutual support, where every member of the community is invested in the survival of the whole. As the winter deepens and the days grow shorter, the importance of community becomes even more apparent. The bond between family members is reinforced by the understanding that their survival depends on one another. Every member, young or old, has a crucial role to play in keeping the group alive through the long, harsh season. The adults work tirelessly, caring for the livestock, gathering firewood, preparing meals, and maintaining the yurt. Children, even at a young age, learn to contribute in their own way, whether it's helping with small chores, assisting with feeding the animals, or learning the stories and skills that will one day guide them through their own winters. It is during the hardest times, such as when a blizzard sweeps across the steppes or when food becomes scarce, that the strength of the community truly shines. In moments of hardship, the nomads are quick to come together. When one family's resources are low, others share what they have. Food is distributed, firewood is gathered and shared, and extra hands are offered for tasks like clearing the snow from around the yurts or tending to sick animals. This collective effort, where no one is left to fend for themselves, ensures that the entire community has a better chance of surviving the brutal winter. The bonds that tie the community together are not just built on practical needs. They are also woven through shared experiences and traditions. Every yurt in the community becomes an extension of each other's home. In the evening, families come together, not only for warmth, but for companionship, offering each other moral support and laughter in the face of adversity. The stories shared around the fire are not just tales, they are reminders of the strength of their ancestors, their resilience, and the deep connection they share with the land and each other. The elders are the guardians of this communal wisdom. They are the storytellers who recount the challenges of past winters, the lessons learned from hardship, and the triumphs over adversity. Their words are more than just stories. They are the backbone of the community's survival strategy. Through these tales, the younger generations are taught the importance of unity, perseverance, and the value of working together. These lessons stay with them as they grow, shaping how they interact with the land, the animals, and each other. For the Kazakh nomads, survival in the winter months is not a solitary pursuit. It is a collective effort, driven by the shared belief that the strength of the group is greater than the sum of its parts. Whether it is the steady hands of the parents ensuring their children are well prepared for the cold, the cooperation between families to share resources, or the wisdom passed down through generations, the entire community contributes to the survival of the whole. As the cold winds blow and the snow piles up outside, the strength of the Kazakh nomadic community remains unwavering. Their unity is their greatest asset, a reminder that no matter how harsh the world outside may be, together they can endure. Through cooperation, mutual support, and shared purpose, the nomads continue to thrive in the face of one of the harshest climates on Earth. And as the days stretch into weeks and the weeks into months, you understand that this is the essence of the Kazakh way of life. It is a way of life defined by the collective effort, the unbreakable bonds of family, and the unwavering belief that as long as they stand together, they will survive not just through the winter, but through any storm that life may throw their way. The Kazakh nomads' ability to survive and thrive in the harsh cold is a testament to their practical skills and ingenuity. Everything about their way of life is designed to work with the cold, to use it rather than be defeated by it. Their clothing, for example, is crafted from the wool of sheep, the hides of cattle, and the furs of animals hunted in the winter. These materials are expertly woven, stitched, and layered to provide warmth and protection against the extreme temperatures. The nomads have perfected the art of creating durable, effective clothing that can withstand the worst of the cold. Woolen socks, mittens, cloaks, and blankets are indispensable in this climate, and every family member learns how to make these items from an early age. Even the shoes are carefully crafted from leather and fur, designed to protect the feet from the icy ground and deep snow. These items are not just functional, but essential for survival. Beyond clothing, the nomads' shelters, the yurt, are ingeniously designed to keep the cold at bay. The round shape of the yurt allows the wind to pass over rather than through it, and the thick layers of felt and wool insulate the interior. The fire at the center of the yurt provides warmth, and the communal space ensures that no one is isolated from the heat and comfort it offers. The nomads also understand how to manage their firewood and food stores to ensure they last throughout the winter. The yurt, more than just a shelter, is a sanctuary during the long, unforgiving winter months. The design of the yurt reflects centuries of wisdom, perfectly suited to withstand the harshest conditions the steppes can throw at it. The circular shape, paired with the thick felt and woolen coverings, creates an insulating barrier against the icy winds. The structure is built to be both resilient and flexible, easily disassembled and transported, yet sturdy enough to provide comfort and warmth in the harshest of winters. Inside the yurt, the fire at the center is more than just a source of light and heat. It is the heart of the yurt and the lifeblood of the community. The warmth radiating from the flames is what keeps everyone safe from the freezing temperatures outside. The heat is carefully managed, with the fire tended to throughout the day and night. In the evenings, as the outside world grows darker and colder, the fire crackles and pops, its warmth drawing everyone together. It's not just the warmth it provides, but the sense of security and unity it brings. People gather around the fire to eat, tell stories, mend clothes, and share the quiet moments that make up their lives. The fire becomes the gathering point, the place where laughter and conversation flow freely, where a sense of community and belonging is nurtured. But the cold is never far. As soon as the fire starts to fade, the chill quickly creeps in, especially during the night when the temperatures drop even further. It is this constant battle with the cold that shapes the nomadic lifestyle. Every movement, every task, is centered around staying warm and ensuring that the cold does not take hold. The nomad's skills go far beyond just crafting clothing and shelters. The management of resources is just as critical to survival. Firewood, one of the most precious commodities in winter, is gathered and stored with great care. The nomads know exactly where to find the best wood, dense and slow burning, and they ensure that there is enough to last through the longest nights. They understand the rhythms of the land, when to gather wood, when to conserve it, and how to make it last. In the same way, their food stores are meticulously planned and carefully rationed. Dried meats, salted fish, and preserved vegetables are stored in cool, dry places, ensuring they remain fresh for as long as possible. The preservation of food, much like the preservation of warmth, is a matter of survival, and the Kazakh nomads have perfected the art over generations. During the day, the nomads are always busy, ensuring that their environment, both inside and outside the yurt, is kept in order. They make sure the fire burns steadily, tending to it as they go about their daily tasks. The animals are checked on regularly, their shelters cleaned, and their food stores replenished. Each member of the family is involved in some form of labor, whether it's tending to the herd, preparing food, or repairing tools. The work never stops, but it is this constant, collaborative effort that allows the nomads to thrive, even in such an unforgiving climate. As the seasons change, the nomads' ability to adapt to their environment remains their greatest strength. The winter months are harsh, but they are not insurmountable. The nomads have developed a deep understanding of the land, its rhythms, and its challenges. They know how to use everything at their disposal, from the wool of their sheep to the fur of their wild game, to create the tools, clothing, and shelter they need to survive. The skills of the Kazakh nomads are passed down through generations. Children grow up learning the crafts that will allow them to contribute to the family's survival. From an early age, they are taught how to weave, how to make leather goods, how to repair and maintain the tools that will make their lives easier. They are taught not just practical skills, but the mindset required to thrive in such a harsh environment: resilience, resourcefulness, and adaptability. Even in the face of adversity, the nomads continue to endure. The cold may bite, the winds may howl, but the Kazakh nomads are unyielding. They have mastered the art of surviving in one of the harshest climates on Earth, and with each passing winter, their strength, adaptability, and connection to the land only grow stronger. The yurt, the fire, the clothing, the food, these are not just tools for survival. They are symbols of the resilience that defines the nomadic way of life. Through ingenuity, resourcefulness, and an unwavering commitment to their traditions, the Kazakh nomads continue to navigate the harshest winters. They live in harmony with the land, using everything it offers to protect themselves and ensure their survival. In the face of the cold, they stand strong, adapting, surviving, and thriving, a testament to their strength and resilience. The harsh winter months demand constant attention to daily tasks, and each member of the community has specific responsibilities that contribute to the survival of the group. These tasks range from tending to the animals and hunting to preparing food and maintaining shelters. No role is too small, and every member of the family has a responsibility to ensure that the group stays fed, warm, and safe. The men often take on the roles of herders, hunters, and protectors, working tirelessly to ensure that the animals are properly cared for, fed, and sheltered from the elements. They travel across the frozen steppes, navigating through thick snow, searching for food sources for both the animals and the people. When hunting, they rely on traditional methods passed down through the ages using bows and arrows or setting traps for game. These hunts provide not just food but pelts for warmth, bones for tools, and sinew for ropes. Women and children play an equally important role, ensuring that the yurt is stocked with enough firewood, food, and supplies to make it through the winter. The women are often the ones who prepare meals, cook stews, dry meats, and preserve vegetables. They also take on the tasks of mending clothing and creating new garments to protect everyone from the cold. Children, too, have their part to play, from helping with basic chores like gathering firewood or looking after younger siblings to learning vital survival skills, ensuring they are ready to take on more responsibility as they grow older. In the yurt, every task is a communal effort. Cooking, repairing, cleaning, all are shared responsibilities. The nomads understand that their survival depends on their collective ability to work together, to pool their resources, and to share knowledge and skills. The strength of the community lies in the fact that everyone contributes, and in doing so, they ensure the well-being of the entire group. In these long, harsh winters, the unity of the community is what makes survival possible. Everyone, from the youngest child to the eldest elder, has a role to play, and no task is too small to be important. The rhythm of daily life inside the yurt is a symphony of effort, with each member contributing their energy and skill to ensure that the group stays fed, warm, and safe from the bitter cold outside. The men, while often out in the fields or on the hunt, don't work alone. Their responsibilities are vast and demanding, but they know that their efforts in caring for the animals and securing food are made easier with the help and support of the others. They might spend hours traveling across the frozen plains, navigating through thick snowstorms to find grazing land for their herds, or setting up traps for game. When they return, their success is shared by all. The meat they've brought back will be cooked and preserved, the hides will be turned into warmth for the family, and every part of the animal will be used for something essential. While the men are focused on hunting and herding, the women are the backbone of the yurt, ensuring that the daily life continues with smooth efficiency. Their work is vital, cooking meals from preserved foods, creating hearty stews and broths that warm the body from the inside out. They dry meats, smoke fish, and preserve vegetables to ensure there is food throughout the long winter months. The work never stops, but it's done with love and care, as every meal is a symbol of the family's survival and the women's efforts to keep everyone nourished. Women also take on the responsibility of repairing clothing and crafting new garments. The bitter cold can freeze the strongest of men, but the layers of woolen socks, mittens, and cloaks crafted by the women keep everyone warm and protected from the harsh winds. The clothing is not only practical but often intricately designed, showcasing the craftsmanship and the pride that comes with providing warmth and protection for the family. Each stitch, each woven thread, is a symbol of care and dedication. The children, too, play a crucial role in the survival of the group. Though they may not yet bear the full weight of the responsibilities placed on the adults, they are expected to help in small ways, contributing to the communal effort. They gather firewood, assist in cleaning, and tend to smaller tasks that free up the adults to focus on the more demanding work of hunting, herding, and preserving resources. But their most important task is learning. They watch, they listen, and they absorb the knowledge passed down through the generations. The elders teach them the ways of the land, how to read the signs of the weather, the importance of respecting the animals, and the skills they will one day need to survive and carry on the traditions of the nomadic way of life. This shared responsibility extends beyond just the immediate family. The broader nomadic community works as one unit. When one family faces a challenge, be it a shortage of food, a sick animal, or the aftermath of a storm, the community rallies together. The work of repairing a damaged yurt, collecting firewood, or helping to tend to a sick animal is never done alone. The nomadic way of life is built on cooperation, and it is in times of hardship that this sense of solidarity is most evident. Resources are pooled, knowledge is shared, and no one is left to struggle alone. Even as the cold winds blow outside, the strength of the community remains unshaken. There is a deep sense of connection between the nomads, an understanding that survival is not about individual strength, but about the collective effort. The work is grueling, and the days are long, but the nomads know that as long as they continue to work together, they will overcome whatever challenges winter throws their way. Inside the yurt, the work continues well into the night. When the children finally fall asleep, exhausted from their day's tasks and games, the adults sit around the fire, sharing the fruits of their labor. There is no rest in the true sense of the word. Even as they relax, their minds are always working, planning for the next day, ensuring that the needs of the family and community will be met. This tireless commitment, this constant working, is what ensures that the Kazakh nomads endure, that they not only survive but thrive, even in the most extreme conditions. The strength of the nomadic people lies in their unwavering unity, the knowledge they pass down through generations, and the shared determination to face each new day with resilience and hope. In a land where survival is never guaranteed, it is the collective effort, the strength of family and community, that gives the Kazakh nomads the ability to overcome the cold and the challenges that come with it. Through every hardship, they continue, bound together by the warmth of the yurt, the strength of their bonds, and the knowledge that as long as they work together, they will survive the harshest winters. Winter is more than a season for the Kazakh nomads. It is the ultimate test of their endurance. The harsh winds and freezing temperatures stretch from November to March, pushing both human and animal to their limits. Yet, despite these extreme conditions, the nomads continue to survive and even thrive, demonstrating a level of resilience that comes from centuries of adaptation. Every day during the cold months is a battle against the elements. The snow blankets the steppes, and the fierce winds can sweep across the land with a brutal, biting force. Yet, the nomad's ability to endure is not just a matter of physical toughness. It's a mental and spiritual strength, a determination to carry on despite the adversity. They have learned how to work with the land, how to use the resources available to them to create warmth, shelter, and food. Every task, from caring for livestock to preparing food, is a demonstration of their ability to live in harmony with nature rather than be defeated by it. In the face of such adversity, the Kazakh nomads do not just endure, they adapt. The harshness of winter has shaped their way of life, teaching them how to navigate the challenges of the steppes with precision and skill. Their strength is reflected in their ability to make use of every available resource, from the wool of their sheep to the leather from their cattle. The very tools they use, the sleds, the yurt, and the clothing they wear, are all products of a deep understanding of the land and the harsh conditions they face. It's a life built on endurance, strength, and the will to survive, no matter how fierce the winter may be. But survival isn't just about making it through the winter. It's about thriving in spite of it. The Kazakh nomads have learned to not only endure the cold, but to turn it into a tool that serves them. The snow, which could easily bury them, becomes an ally in the preservation of food and the insulation of their shelters. The harsh winds, which could easily strip the skin from the bones, are channeled through the design of their yurts, allowing them to create spaces of warmth and comfort. The freezing temperatures that would cause the faint of heart to despair are simply another part of the cycle of life, a challenge that the nomads have come to accept as part of their existence. Their ability to adapt to this environment is deeply embedded in their culture. Every aspect of their daily life is shaped by the need to survive the bitter cold. The wool from their sheep is not only used for clothing but also for bedding, ensuring that each night is spent in warmth. The leather from their cattle, transformed into shoes and harnesses, provides the protection necessary for both man and beast to endure the elements. Their sleds, designed for the snow, glide across the frozen ground with precision, making travel possible even when the land is blanketed in thick layers of snow. And of course, the yurt, the ingenious, portable home that has withstood centuries of use, remains the keystone of their survival. With its round shape and insulating felt, it traps the heat generated by the fire at its center, allowing the nomads to find comfort in the harshest conditions. But beyond these practical adaptations lies something even more essential: the Kazakh nomads' unwavering mental and spiritual resilience. They know that survival is not just about conquering the land, but also about maintaining the strength to face each day with determination. The nomads rise every morning knowing that the weather will challenge them, that the cold will be biting and unforgiving, but they do so with the quiet confidence that they will find a way to make it through. Their strength is not just physical, but mental. It is the strength to look out across the vast, frozen steppes and say, "This land is mine, and I will not be defeated by it." How? In the evenings, as the sun sets early over the snow-covered plains and the darkness presses in, the fire in the yurt becomes a focal point, not just for warmth, but for connection. The nomads gather around the fire, sharing the day's experiences, telling stories of past winters, and passing down the wisdom that has been earned through hardship. These shared moments of reflection and bonding are just as vital as the physical work of surviving. It is in these moments that the strength of the community is reinforced, and the mental resilience needed to face another day is nurtured. The nomads do not merely endure the winter, they embrace it as a part of their identity. Their connection to the land and the cold is not one of struggle, but of harmony. They know that winter, like every season, has its own lessons to teach. It teaches them patience, respect for nature, and the importance of working together. It is a season of reflection, of inner strength, and of communal resilience. Each winter brings its own challenges, but for the Kazakh nomads, it is a reminder of their adaptability and their ability to thrive in even the most extreme conditions. The strength to endure, to adapt, and to make the cold work for them is the essence of the Kazakh spirit. Through the harshest of winters, they prove that with strength, ingenuity, and a deep respect for nature, survival is not just possible, it is a way of life. At the heart of the Kazakh nomads' winter survival lies a deep and intimate connection to the land. The steppes, although unforgiving, provide everything the nomads need to sustain themselves. They understand that to survive, they must live in harmony with the land, respecting its rhythms and responding to its demands. Winter is not just a time to survive. It's a time to listen to the land, to observe the patterns of nature, and to use that knowledge to adapt and persevere. The nomads are not just passive recipients of the land's bounty. They actively engage with it, shaping their lives and traditions around the resources available to them. The animals they herd, horses, cattle, and sheep, are not just sources of food or materials. They are part of a larger ecosystem that the nomads must understand and protect. During the winter, the nomads carefully monitor the condition of their livestock, ensuring they have enough food and shelter to survive the harsh season. This deep respect for their animals is mirrored by their respect for the land itself, which provides not only sustenance but also the spiritual foundation of their way of life. The yurt, which serves as both home and shelter, is a perfect example of how the nomad's survival is intertwined with the land. The structure, made from natural materials like wool and felt, is designed to withstand the wind and cold while providing warmth and comfort. The nomads know how to harness the resources of the land to create shelter, warmth, and protection. Their survival is a direct result of their understanding of the land's cycles, their ability to work with the environment rather than fight against it. This deep connection to the land goes beyond mere survival. It is a way of life that defines the Kazakh nomads. The very structure of their daily existence is built around the rhythms of nature. They are in tune with the seasons, observing the signs that tell them when to herd, when to hunt, and when to prepare for the colder months. The land is not something to be conquered. It is something to be respected, understood, and worked with. In the winter months, this relationship becomes even more critical. The nomads are not only concerned with surviving the cold, but also with ensuring that the land can continue to sustain them in the future. They practice sustainable herding methods, rotating grazing areas to allow the grass to regenerate, ensuring that their animals will have enough to eat even when the snow covers the earth. They understand the balance between using the land's resources and giving it time to heal, ensuring that the cycle of life continues year after year. Hunting, too, is done with respect for the land and its creatures. The animals that roam the steppes, deer, wild boar, foxes, are seen not just as a source of food but as part of the greater ecosystem. The nomads hunt in a way that ensures they don't overharvest, using only what they need to feed their families and maintain their way of life. The furs they collect are used for warmth, and every part of the animal is utilized, from the meat for sustenance to the bones for tools. This is not wastefulness. This is harmony with nature. Every kill, every hunt, is a solemn act that honors the animal and the land it comes from. In the heart of winter, the yurt is not just a shelter from the cold. It is a living space that reflects the nomad's relationship with the land. The materials that make up the yurt, wool from the sheep, felt from the animals they herd, are products of the land itself. The yurt stands as a symbol of the nomadic way of life, portable, flexible, and perfectly adapted to the environment. It is a home that can be packed up and moved when needed, reflecting the nomad's deep understanding of the cyclical nature of life on the steppes. The nomads have learned to listen to the land. They pay attention to the weather patterns, the movement of the animals, and the conditions of the rivers and streams. This knowledge is passed down from generation to generation, ensuring that the wisdom of the elders is never lost. It is not a knowledge gained through books or formal education, but through years of experience, of watching the land change with the seasons, of living in close connection with nature. In winter, the challenges are great, but the connection to the land remains a source of strength. The harsh conditions test the nomads' resilience, but they know the land intimately. They understand its cycles, its rhythms, and how to navigate its challenges. The animals they care for are not just a means of survival, but part of a larger ecosystem, and by respecting this, the nomads ensure their way of life endures. Winter in the steppes is a time for reflection, for living closely with nature, and for trusting the land to provide what is needed. The Kazakh nomads' survival is built not just on their strength, ingenuity, and endurance, but on their ability to coexist with the land, to adapt to its demands, and to respect its power. The land provides everything: shelter, sustenance, and the spiritual foundation of their lives. It is both their provider and their teacher, and in return, the nomads care for it, work with it, and continue their deep bond with the land, season after season, generation after generation. In this way, the harsh winters are not just a time to endure. They are a time to reaffirm the relationship with the land, to honor the traditions that have been passed down through the centuries, and to ensure that the nomadic way of life remains sustainable for future generations. The Kazakh nomads do not just survive the winter, they live in harmony with it, using its challenges as an opportunity to grow, to adapt, and to strengthen the bonds that tie them to the land and to each other. The Kazakh nomads' way of life is not only about survival in the present, it is about preserving a cultural heritage that has been passed down through generations. Winter, with its challenges, is a time to reaffirm their cultural identity, to teach the younger generation the skills and wisdom that have allowed their people to endure for centuries. The elders are the keepers of this heritage, passing on essential knowledge about survival, crafting, and storytelling. Their teachings are not just practical lessons, they are lessons in resilience, in the spirit of the nomadic way of life, and in the values that define the Kazakh people: respect for nature, unity in the face of adversity, and the importance of community. The stories shared around the fire, the songs sung, and the skills taught are all part of a larger narrative that connects the past to the present and the future. Children are raised with the understanding that their role in the community is vital. From a young age, they learn to weave, to sew, to hunt, and to tend to the animals. They absorb the wisdom of their elders and internalize the practices that will one day ensure the survival of their people. The bond between generations is unbreakable, and the transmission of knowledge is seen as a sacred duty. In this way, the nomads ensure that their culture endures, even in the most difficult of circumstances. As the long winter nights settle in, the yurt becomes more than just a place of shelter. It transforms into a classroom, a sacred space where the younger generation learns not only the practical skills of survival, but also the stories, songs, and values that form the heart of Kazakh identity. Around the fire, the elders share the wisdom they have gathered over a lifetime, the skills of hunting, herding, and crafting, and the deeper lessons of life on the steppes. These teachings are steeped in the resilience of generations who have endured the harshest winters, survived the fiercest storms, and thrived in a land that demands everything from those who call it home. The stories told by the elders are as vital as any survival skill. They recount the history of the Kazakh people, their migrations, their battles, their victories, and their defeats. But most importantly, they tell of the spirit that has carried the Kazakh nomads through the toughest times, the spirit of resilience, unity, and respect for the land. These stories remind the children that they are part of something much larger than themselves, a tradition that has endured for centuries and will continue as long as they remain steadfast in their commitment to preserving it. The songs, too, are an integral part of this transmission of culture, passed down through generations. These melodies carry with them the emotions and experiences of the nomads, songs of the land, of the animals, of the struggles and joys that come with life on the steppes. The children learn these songs from an early age, internalizing the rhythms and the meanings, so that they too can one day sing them to their own children. Music, like storytelling, is a way of keeping the past alive, of connecting with ancestors, and ensuring that their wisdom is never lost. As the younger generation absorbs these lessons, they begin to take on more responsibilities. The older children help with herding, tending to the livestock, and learning the skills needed to hunt and gather. They begin to understand the intricate relationship between the people, the animals, and the land. They learn that survival is not just about feeding themselves, but about caring for the environment and the animals that sustain them. They are taught to respect the earth, to listen to the wind, to understand the language of the snow, and to read the signs that will guide them through the winter. This respect for nature is at the core of Kazakh nomadic life. It's not just about surviving on the land, but about living in harmony with it. The elders impart to the children the knowledge that the land gives generously, but it must also be respected and cared for. The cycles of nature, the changing of the seasons, the migration of animals, the flow of the rivers are all lessons in patience, balance, and adaptation. The Kazakh nomads understand that they are stewards of the land, not its masters. They live with it, move with it, and respect it in all its forms. As the children grow older, they gradually take on the full responsibilities of nomadic life. They learn to weave the wool, mend the clothing, set the traps, and drive the herd. These are not just tasks, they are rites of passage, marking the transition from childhood to adulthood. But even as they take on these roles, they are never alone. They are part of a family, a community, and a culture that has always worked together to survive the winters and beyond. In the face of adversity, the Kazakh nomads remain united. Every family member, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, contributes to the survival of the group. This collective effort ensures that no one is left behind, that the bonds between family members and the larger community remain strong. The resilience of the Kazakh nomads is built not only on their ability to adapt to the harshness of the land, but also on the unbreakable connection between the past, the present, and the future. Through the lessons of the elders, the work of the family, and the communal support that defines their way of life, the Kazakh nomads continue to thrive, generation after generation. As the fire burns low, the children snuggle closer to their parents, their eyes heavy with sleep but filled with the knowledge that the traditions of their people live on within them. The stories, the songs, and the lessons they have learned will be passed down to their children just as they were passed down to them. And as the winds howl outside and the cold presses in, the Kazakh nomads know that no matter how harsh the winter, they will endure not just as individuals, but as a people bound together by the strength of their heritage, the wisdom of their ancestors, and the unity that sustains them through every season. While the Kazakh nomads have an unshakable commitment to their traditions, they also understand the importance of adapting to the changing world around them. This adaptation is not a rejection of the past, but an evolution of the practices that have kept them alive for centuries. The winter months provide the perfect time to reflect on how these traditions can evolve to meet the needs of the present without losing their essence. Adapting to new tools, new methods, and even new challenges such as climate change or changes in trade routes does not mean abandoning their way of life. Rather, it is a testament to the resilience of the Kazakh nomads. They know that in order to survive, they must be flexible, open to change, and willing to learn from the past while also embracing the future. Their adaptation extends beyond practical survival methods. It also encompasses their social structures, community organization, and even their spiritual practices. The nomads incorporate modern technologies and ideas while still holding on to the fundamental values that define their culture. This ability to adapt while maintaining a strong connection to their heritage is what allows the Kazakh nomads to endure, generation after generation, through the harshest winters and the most challenging times. The ability of the Kazakh nomads to evolve without losing their essence is a remarkable testament to their deep resilience. While they remain rooted in ancient traditions, they recognize that change is inevitable and that adaptation is a key component of survival. The harsh realities of the steppes and the demands of the modern world require them to adjust their practices, tools, and even social structures. Yet, their connection to the land, their animals, and their community remains unwavering, grounded in values that have stood the test of time. One way this adaptation is evident is in the way the Kazakh nomads have embraced modern technologies. While the traditional methods of herding, hunting, and food preservation remain essential to their way of life, the nomads are not averse to using tools that make these tasks more efficient. Motorized vehicles, such as all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, and trucks, have become essential for transporting goods and supplies across the vast, snow-covered steppes. These tools don't replace the old methods but complement them, allowing the nomads to cover greater distances and more effectively care for their herds, especially during the challenging winter months when the terrain is treacherous. Likewise, modern communication technologies from radios to smartphones have found their place in nomadic life. While these tools may seem at odds with the traditional, mobile nature of the Kazakh nomads, they actually serve to enhance the community's interconnectedness. The ability to stay in touch with other nomadic groups, share resources, and even coordinate trade or seek help during times of crisis has made the nomadic lifestyle more resilient than ever. The nomads are adapting to the modern world, using these technologies to strengthen their community, not weaken it. At the same time, the Kazakh nomads have remained fiercely protective of their spiritual practices and community traditions. The way of life they have sustained for centuries, built on mutual support, respect for the land, and the deep bonds of family and community, has not been diluted by modernization. Rather, these values have been reinforced by the changing world around them. The elders continue to pass down their knowledge through oral traditions, telling stories around the fire, teaching the younger generation how to respect the land and its creatures, and instilling the importance of unity within the community. These practices remain the foundation of nomadic life, regardless of how the world evolves. Perhaps most significantly, the Kazakh nomads' adaptability is seen in their social structures. In an ever-changing world, they have learned how to maintain the cooperative, communal way of life that has always been essential to their survival. The roles within a nomadic family and community may have evolved, but the spirit of cooperation and shared responsibility remains. Elders still have the wisdom, and younger generations still respect them as the keepers of knowledge. While family structures may adapt to the changing world, the importance of family as both a unit of survival and emotional support remains central to the Kazakh way of life. Even as they adapt, the Kazakh nomads continue to honor the natural cycles that govern their existence. While climate change presents new challenges, the nomads' intimate knowledge of the land learned through centuries of observation and experience equips them to anticipate and respond to these changes. They are experts at reading the land's signals, from the behavior of the animals to the patterns of the weather, and they have the wisdom to make adjustments when necessary. Whether it's altering grazing patterns, adjusting hunting schedules, or shifting the timing of migration, the Kazakh nomads have learned how to evolve in response to the natural world's shifts, without losing the fundamental practices that define their identity. The blend of tradition and innovation, of old and new, is what enables the Kazakh nomads to endure through the harshest winters and to face the challenges of the modern world. They understand that survival is not just about holding on to the past, but about finding ways to move forward without losing what makes them who they are. It's about adapting to new circumstances, while staying true to the values of respect for the land, unity, and resilience that have always guided them. In this way, the Kazakh nomads continue to live not just as survivors of an ancient way of life, but as dynamic, evolving people who have mastered the delicate balance of tradition and change. Their strength lies in their adaptability, their ability to honor the past while embracing the future, ensuring that their culture not only survives but thrives in the face of an ever-changing world. As the night deepens and the fire in the yurt flickers low, the warmth from the embers wraps you in a peaceful embrace. Outside, the wind howls, but inside, there is a comforting stillness, a moment of quiet after the day's work. The lessons of the day settle in your heart, and as you close your eyes, you feel the enduring strength of your people, the land, and the stories of generations past. Sleep comes gently, as the world outside sleeps beneath a blanket of snow, and in the comfort of your yurt, you rest, knowing that tomorrow, together, you will rise to meet whatever challenges come your way. Good night, and may the peace of the land and the warmth of family keep you safe through the night. Sleep well, for the journey of life continues, and with each new dawn, the resilience of the Kazakh nomads shines even brighter.